So systems, word problems, this is the second part. Um, so if you look, it says info. I'm not going to write out the whole problem because it's really long, but it's talking about um, Stephen is mowing or has mowed two different types of lots. He mowed small lots and large lots. He charges $15 for small lots, $30 for large lots. He knows that he made $240 total and that he mowed 12 lots. He just can't remember how many small lots he mowed and how many large lots. So he wants to know so that he can, because, anyways, so we're trying to figure out how many large lots did he mow and how many small lots. This is the information he knows. He knows he did 12 lots total. He made $240. That's how much money he has in his pocket or in whatever. And then he knows how much he charges for the different types of lots. So when you are doing systems, you always have to identify the variable or what you're looking for and tell me, this is what x equals, this is what y equals. So step one, make sure you identify the variables. And again, you can use x or you can use y. I'm going to use x and y today just because. So x equals and y equals. We're talking about small lots and large lots. So let's say x is the number of small lots mowed, and y is going to be the number of large lots mowed. Okay, we know that we're talking about a system, so we're going to have two equations. So step two, we're going to find the totals. So that we know what both of the equations are equal to. So we know that one total is 240, and then we know that there were 12 total lots mowed. So he made 240 and there were 12 lots. Step three, set up equations and solve. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set up my equations. So the first total, we know that we're going to have to be set equal to that. So it's going to, the first equation is going to be equal 240. The second equation is going to equal 12. Sorry, my blue pen is going out. All right. Now, this is talking about total money here. So when you're doing this, we need to talk about how much does each small lot cost plus how much does each large lot cost. You wouldn't want to put the dollar amounts with the 12 since that's not talking about money. So the money always stays with money. The number of lots plus the number of lots gives you the total. That will stay together. So it's $15 for a small lot. So I'm going to write it as 15 times each x. Now we don't know how many small lots, so it's $15 for however many small lots plus $30 for each large lot. So all I did there is said it's $15 for small lots and $30 for large lots. Is going to give me a total of 240. Now the next equation is talking about the total number of lots mowed. That's kind of like talking about the total number of students in a class. It's just the number of small plus the number of large has to equal a total of 12 lots. So it could be 6 and 6, It could be 10 and 2. We don't really know. We just know that however many small plus however many large has to equal 12. Okay, now we're going to solve this. Again, you can set both equations equal to y and solve it that way. You could do substitution if you wanted to move that x, or right now it's set up pretty close to elimination, so that's the one I'm going to do. So I'm going to do elimination, but right now there's nothing that will eliminate. So remember, when you're trying to do elimination and nothing eliminates, you need to multiply so that it will eliminate. So I could multiply by negative 15, or I could multiply by negative 30. I would prefer to do the smaller number, so I'm going to multiply by negative 15. And remember, the reason I do negative 15 is because 15x and negative 15x would cancel. So this equation becomes negative 15 times x is negative 15x. Negative 15 times y would be negative 15y. And then negative 15, negative 15 times 12, that should be more over there, sorry. So 15 times 12, negative 15 times 12 equals negative 180. Okay, this equation just gets rewritten. 15x plus 30y equals 240. Okay, now we can combine and something will cancel. So 15 minus 15 cancels. 30 minus 15 is 15y equals 240 minus 180 is 60. Okay, so now we know that 15y equals 60, so the opposite of multiply by 15 is divide by 15, and divide by 15. So y equals 60 divided by 15, if you type that in your calculator, is 4. Remember that this is the number of large lots, so always make sure to write that out for yourself so that you don't forget. So that's number of large lots. Okay, now you can plug it back into either equation. I personally think it's way easier to plug it into this one because it would just be x plus 4 equals 12, and then minus 4, so x equals 8. So 12 minus 4 is 8, and that is number of small lots. Depending on how it wants you to write your answer, and sometimes you, depending on how the question asks, you can have to write it in a coordinate 8, 4 if it said smaller lots than larger lots, or if it said larger than smaller, it would be the other way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write out the next problem just so that you're not sitting there watching me write it out. Again, you can always pause. So, at a restaurant, the cost for a sandwich and a small Coke is $2.10. The cost for 2 sandwiches and 3 small Cokes is $5.15. Find the cost for each sandwich and Coke. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing I did on the last one, and I'm going to write out the important information. So if you look at that first sentence, it says a sandwich, so 1 sandwich, and a small Coke is $2.10. So 1 sandwich and 1 Coke is $2.10. Then it says 2 sandwiches and 3 Cokes is $5.15. So 2 sandwiches and 3 Cokes is $5.15. Okay, so we have the important information written down. First thing you need to do is identify the variables. What are we looking for? So we're finding the cost of a sandwich and the cost of the Coke. So let's say X equals the cost for a sandwich and Y equals the cost for a Coke. Okay, let's go ahead and write our 2 equations. So it says 1 sandwich and 1 Coke is $2.10. So I have 1 sandwich plus 1 Coke equals $2.10. Then I know that, and I did 1x because there's just 1 sandwich. I did 1 Coke because it's 1 Coke, or 1 Y because it's 1 Coke. Because remember, X is the cost for the sandwich, so if I only have 1, I only have to pay that cost 1 time. On this equation, if I do 2x, I have to pay the cost of the sandwich twice, and then I have to pay the cost of a small Coke 3 times, so 3y is going to be, it's a terrible 5, sorry, 5.15. Okay, so 1 sandwich plus 1 Coke equals 2.10. 2 sandwiches plus 3 Cokes equals 5.15. Now I need to do either do substitution, do elimination, or solve for y. I'm going to do elimination again. I need to multiply one of the equations so that it cancels. I'm going to do this top one, and I need to either cancel with 2 or cancel with 3. Again, I like choosing the smaller number, so I'm going to multiply by 2. But since this one's positive, I need this one to be negative, so I need to multiply by a -2. So -2 times 1x would be -2x. -2 times 1y would be -2y. -2 times 210. -2 times 210 would be -420. This equation just gets rewritten. 2x plus 3y equals 5.15. Now I can combine them. 2x minus 2x cancels. -2y plus 3y, or 3 minus 2 would be 1y, equals -420 plus 5.15. So -420 minus 5.15 is -9 point. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not right. That -4.20 plus 5.15. Sorry, that seems better. And I knew this couldn't be right. The reason I immediately stopped: one, you can't charge a negative amount of money, and you can't have 1 sandwich be more than the cost of 2 sandwiches and 2 Cokes. So you could, I always see people do this, but you really don't have to. 1y equals 0.95. I always see people divide by 1. You really don't have to. You just know that y equals 95 cents, or this is the cost for a Coke, since we said y equals the cost of the Coke. Okay, now plug that back into either equation. Again, I'm going to do the easier one that doesn't have a bunch of extra numbers. So I'm going to do 1x plus 0.95 equals 210. So it's $2.10 for one Coke and one sandwich. So I'm going to subtract the cost of one Coke, and that's going to give me the cost of the sandwich. So 210 minus 0.95 is 115. Man, I don't know when this problem was written, but their sandwiches are real cheap, and so are their Cokes. And that is the cost of a sandwich. Okay, so that is your solving word problems.